So we were working on our compost pile, and we had a nice, good pile working of Job's manure. But inside of that, here, let me see, Eli, are a bunch of these grubs. So we decided to feed them to our chickens.
In 2013, we sold our house in the city, packed up our 6 kids, and moved to a tiny home on 30 acres. Our dream was to get back to a simpler, healthier lifestyle. 6 years later, and 3 more kids, we now raise chickens, goats, Great Pyrenees, and try to expand our garden every year.
We're the Cush family. Welcome to our farm.
So one of the projects that we've been wanting to work on, and it's not a big one, is starting a compost pile. And so all we did here was grab a few free, just random pallets that we had, screw them together. You can see there in the corners, and then in the corner down in the middle there. And then we also added some in the back, which is some scrap 2x4 that we had. But we are layering up a combination of donkey manure, rotting sticks, green grass, and other kind of greenery, weeds and stuff that we have laying around, hay, pine shavings, rotted and decaying wood. So all that is going into our pile, and we wetted it down really good, all at different layers, and started stirring it up. Over the course of the next few months, we'll start adding like food product and vegetables and stuff like that as well. And hopefully over the course of the next 6 months to a year, we can get a really good composting bin going here, and that'll be good for 2 things. Ian's starting to make compost tea, and that's something that he wants to start selling, but we need good compost for that. So because we're out here and we have stuff that we can use for compost, we just need to plan ahead. So we hadn't done a very good job planning ahead, so we're trying to kind of get that done right now, and now that we have the space for it. And then from there, the extra compost that we have that we're not using for the tea, because we don't need a whole lot for that, is starting to mix it in with our soil and our garden beds. And so it should be a really good beneficial thing for our garden, which right now is doing pretty well. I'll have some video clips here of our potatoes and some other stuff that we've been growing along in this video as well. So so far we're just kind of into the spring, and here in Texas we've had 3 days that are over 80 degrees and 1 day up over 90 degrees. So it's already pretty hot. So the sooner kind of we start in our summer planting, the better, because it'll get really hot as the spring drags on and the summer starts. But that's one of our projects that we're working on today. We've got 3 more projects, including building a turkey coop and moving our goat barrier, because they keep eating all of our greens out of our garden. And then a couple other things that we'll add to our video today of our Friday farm project. So stay tuned. There's more to come. All right, so one of the issues that we had is we planted part of our garden here right along the fence there. And so what's happening is the goats can sneak their heads in through the panel here and eat up some of our potatoes. And you can see it down here. Some of the ends are munched off, and they pull them through the fence and they eat them. So we had temporarily put up this barrier here that you see behind me, and that barrier was supposed to keep them out, but it was a little too far away from the fence. And so what they do is they push through between the fence and our barrier, and then they stand on the fence and eat the stuff out of the garden. So it actually ends up being completely pointless. So we're going to move it down so it covers the end, and then push it up against our garden fence so that it provides a better barrier from the goats. our turkey coop project this day. We used a lot of repurposed materials like spare 4x4s you see there at the top, and at the bottom some extra 4x6s we had from an old deck porch that we had attached to the house that we replaced. So the only costs that we had were the plywood for the top where the roof was, and then some new chicken wire to wrap around. So in total, we only spent about $80 to build the turkey coop, and it's 6 by 6 foot and completely square. If you notice in the picture, the back was higher than the front, and what that allows is for them to roost. They like to feel like they're roosting in the trees as they get older, so that allows them to kind of fly up into the back of the coop and roost as they want to. But the chicken wire was either 4 foot or 3 foot tall. We had two different sizes, so we actually had to splice it in the middle. And so the process of cutting it and stapling it around the turkey coop did take us pretty much the entire afternoon, but the kids, even the little kids, can help, which is kind of fun. So if you guys have a family, this is a great type of build to do with your family because it's not terribly difficult to do. And they can help stretch the chicken wire and cut it and staple it. And so it's a good family project if you guys want to build something like this for your birds. And it works good for chickens and turkeys. And we zip tied the two panels together so that the gap wouldn't be able to get pushed open by critters trying to get to our birds. And that keeps it nice and secure. So zip ties are actually one of the resources that we have on the property all the time because we use them for everything. And our turkeys are now old enough. We had them inside for a long time. Their call, you can actually hear them talk a lot. They're very social because they were inside around the kids. Whenever we're not outside, they call for us. And so they like to hang out with us. It's pretty fun to have them there. Working on our compost pile, and we had a nice good pile working of Job's manure, but inside of that, here, let me see, Eli, are a bunch of these grubs. So we decided to feed them to our chickens. So we wanted to show you what it looks like when we feed them to the chickens. So all of our hens are just sitting here waiting for more grubs. They're watching us. Put one down in there, Esther.
Oh. One of them tickled
They get so excited about these things.
Grubs pinch you.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Grab some more.
Wait.
So we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these grubs just in a couple scoops of our shovel. So we figured we'd pull them out and feed them to our chickens. It's a big one.
Look. I did not see that coming.